Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Imprint Explained. And today, in our Indian economy series, we are looking into fuel prices in India. And we're going to talk about why the consumers are always losing in India and the government is always gaining, right? And why are petrol and diesel prices rising in India, despite that there is in the all-time low crude prices are there. We even did a video on the crude hitting negative. There was the Texas oil, which went at minus $38 approximately, right? So that is what now this is so the reasons obviously we'll discuss. So, but what are the comments of the opponents? So Shashi Tharoor, right? This is just a few minutes ago. So he says that feeling economically stressed because of the pandemic, financial crisis, and lockdown. So question mark. Here is day 9 of your stimulus package from the Modi government. Petrol and prices hiked for the ninth straight day. Okay, so what the Congress has been attacking the Modi government is the fact that the crude oil prices in 2014 were $107. Right now, they're at $40, right? And difference is, $66. And still, the petrol prices are more than what we had in 2014. And so in diesel, right? Diesel prices, if you think of it, has increased by 19 rupees by 2014. Okay, excise, if you look at it, by is increased to 30 rupees. It was around 9.2. Excise duty on diesel has increased by 800%, more than 800%, as you can see. So, why is the reason? What is the reason for this policy? We'll talk about this in this video, right? So the issue basically, as we talked about. So in theory, the retail prices of petrol and diesel in India are linked to the global crude prices, and there's are supposed to be complete decontrol of consumer end prices of auto and fuel prices, such as aviation turbine fuel or ATF, which means that if the crude oil prices fall, which has largely been the trends in February, retail prices should have been down. So right now we should have been getting petrol at, let's say, 30, 35, 40 rupees around. So, but that doesn't happen. So what India has done to the declining global crude oil prices as a policy measure, the government of India decided that it's best to raise taxes. Why? Because initially they said that it is because normally what happens is when prices increase after obviously the crude oil price increase again. So let's say it was at, let's say, 75 right now. So let's say the crude oil prices are going down to, let's say, 50. So if the petrol prices also go down to 50, after that, when the government has to increase, it leads to a political backlash. So the government gave that excuse, a very poor one, but they did give that one. But what has been happening? Uh, so fuel prices have been rising, for the ninth day, right, since the oil companies started revising prices starting Sunday. We'll go about that, how that has happened, right, after the 82-day hiatus. In the last 6 days, petrol price has gone by 3.5 rupees, around 3.31, and diesel by 3.42, right? This coincided with oil benchmarks heading for the first weekly decline, with Brent and crude oil dropping to 10%, breaking a rally that pushed oil off April low, as the market reconciled with the reality that COVID is far from over, right? And oil prices have been declining, just to know, because of the lack of demand across the world. Okay. Now, very interestingly, PJ Damaram, sarcastically tweets. He says fuel selling prices, raised twice in 2 days, and this is on June 8th, following tax hikes 2 weeks ago. And this time is to benefit oil companies. The government is poor; it needs more taxes. The oil companies are poor; they need better prices. Only the poor and middle class are not poor, so they will pay. That is what the government tends to think. The Modi government. That is what So look at this. Fuel prices in Delhi. Let's have a look. On June 7th, there was 71.86. Now on June 13th, it is 75.16. This has even increased now. Okay. Same with diesel, 69.99 to 73. So this has been increasing and increasing. And it's absurd at this time in COVID. In an economic crisis, you're increasing fuel prices, right? The economy is down in the dumps. It tells you how bankrupt in some ways our government is financially. Okay, physical deficit, which actually came out. It actually came out with the true figures, right? Finally, and that they had misestimated our growth and misestimated the revenue numbers. They were absurd in their calculations, I would say. So, why the divergence in the trends? Obviously, oil price decontrol is a one-way street. So, what happens is the Modi government says if the global prices go up, so it is passed on to the consumer, right? So who has to cough up more? But when the reverse happens, the government by default slaps new taxes, levies, and rakes in the extra revenue. Who should have ideally benefited? So the key subversion, or the key beneficiary of the subversion of prices is the government, right? And alongside, obviously, the customer is a loser, as well as the fuel retailing companies. So the PSUs, obviously, I would say that Modi government has destroyed, I think, every damn single PSU in some ways, right? And I think we can do a series on that itself. So very interestingly, the supporters of the regime, let's look at them. So this is 2012 and 2011. So Akshay Kumar says couldn't even get to my house at night for all the Mumbai was queuing for petrol before the prices rocketed again. Now, no comment by Amitabh Bachchan, by Akshay Kumar, by Vivek Agnihotri, right? So Vivek Agnihotri sarcastically says the idea behind petrol hike is that UPA wants to boost a stagnant bicycle, right? And look at Anupam Kher, right? Now he asked my driver, "Why are you late?" So came by cycle, sir. What happened to your motorcycle? His reply: "It is kept at home as a showpiece." So it kind of tells you that right now nobody is willing to say anything to the government, especially from Bollywood somehow. Now coming back to our topic, right? So how does this decontrol work? So what happens is when price decontrol essentially offers fuel retailers such as IOCL, BPCL, the freedom to fix prices of petrol prices based on calculation of their own cost and profits. So basically, this is a factor of the price at which they source their inputs. Okay, from upstream oil companies. Let's say I'm buying oil from ONGC and so on, right? And from them, what happens? The benchmark prices derive from the Indian basket, which is a combination of Brent, Dubai SOR, etc. Now, fuel decontrol was a step-by-step process, right? Government freed up the prices of ATF in 2002, aviation into the petrol in 2010, diesel in 2014. Prior to that, government used to intervene, okay, and in fixing the price at which fuel retailers used to sell diesel and petrol. Now, fuels such as domestic LPG and kerosene are still under price control. For others, such as petrol, diesel, and ATF, the price is supposed to be the reflection of the so-called Indian basket, as I said, right? And it is a basket of sour grade, that is Oman and Dubai average, and sweet grade, that is Brent. Okay, so a huge, it should be like this, but it isn't. Okay, so the question is obviously why haven't the consumer benefit despite there has been a sharp fall in consumer prices. Now, from $55 per barrel, we went to 35, approximately on 40. Now, what happened? The government, what they did, they froze the retail prices of fuel for 82 days, right? Even as the excise duty was hiked by the government, right? The government claimed the impact of the hike was not passed on the consumer, but they did not benefit from this fall, right? So it was absurd what they did. The decision to raise the duties was taken in view with the tight fiscal situation and that the retail prices remain unchanged. So the government basically felt that they don't have any money, right? So what they did, how do I get the money? So this seems to be a very easy method to get in. So retail prices are now being progressively hiked. Now the question becomes: are India's taxes on fuels high? So on 5th May, government announced the steepest hike ever, right? In some ways, 13 rupees on diesel, 10 rupees on petrol. Then this was following another round of sharp hikes in the first week of March. And this basically cements our position as the number one in some ways on highest taxes on fuel, right? So prior to this increase excise duty in 2020, the government plus center was collecting around 107% taxes on the base price of petrol and 69% on. So whatever the price of petrol is, I'm paying 100% more than that. It is absurd, right? In the first revision, which happened in May and April, we got 134% more and 88% more in case of diesel. Second revision, you are now collecting more than 260% excise and VAT, right, on the base price of petrol. It's absurd. It is strange that there is not a protest against this. Okay, it kind of tells you where we are as a democracy. Now, in very straightforward terms, what is happening is there's profiteering over public interest. The economy is in shambles, and it would really help out if the fuel prices were low. But the BJP government, instead of doing that, has earned more than 17.5 lakh crores by hiking fuel taxes 12 times since 2014. Now, they might not have given us 20% or 10% of GDP as the physical stimulus, but they definitely have taken a similar amount. So approximately 10% of GDP they have taken as revenues across the last 6 years. In comparison, taxes on fuel as a percent of pump prices was 65% in Germany and Italy, 62% in UK. So this is reasonable. I would say it's high, but still reasonable. But this is absurd the way what the government has been doing. Now, the idea is as the countries get their economies back on track, oil prices have been moving upwards from the lows seen in April. So OMC passes hikes. Now, consumers are forced to bear the increase in global crude prices and face the harsh reality that every time the crude oil sharply drops, the government use basically to fill up its coffers, and the prices for the consumer barely change. But the reverse happens, the customers are forced to pay up more. So government tends to encash the upside and the consumer make up the good for downside. So I don't know whether we are in a democracy anymore. So do OMCs also benefit? The only entity that benefits at the consumer expense is the government. Both the state and the central government, OMC, right, obviously are the winners, and OMCs are the losers. Okay, so the question becomes: is it because of the fact that it's because of the COVID crisis and this is the only place where they can get more money, or is this just bad governance? Now, the problem for IOCL and BPCL is that the continuous slide on fuel prices leads to inventory losses. So, a technical term, obviously, what happens is that they have already bought the oil at higher prices, okay, but they have to sell at lower prices than that. So, that is an issue, at least initially for them. So, obviously, as you know, that we are, IOCL, etc., will have an inventory. So, at that time, the inventory loss was around 25,000 crore in Jan to March quarter because of a 70% fall in crude oil prices, and obviously that it would have happened that would have been made up in the April June, right? But still not happening because of demand destruction. Now, what about other fuels? Is it only diesel or petrol which are being hiked, or others also? Interestingly, prices of ATA was cut 7 times since February, prior to the beginning of the reduction cycle in February, and when airlines had already started curtailing flights on the account of low demand and travel restrictions caused by the COVID. And the price of jet fuel was around 64,000 rupees per kiloliter. Now, even as no airlines operated, the mainstay of the business between 25th March and 25th May, the oil companies continued to pass the reduction in the form of cutting the price for oil fuel. And when 25th May, we actually have again the commercial flights. Still, so the oil airline companies obviously, are not really helping out. So 6 days after the resumption of flights, the center announced a sharp 56% increase in ATF, effectively negating any tangible benefits to airlines. So now this is what has been happening since Mr. Modi took over. Not that great. The Indian economy is in shambles, and it is because of the mismanagement and centralization done by Mr. Modi, I would say. Thank you so much for listening. Do subscribe and like. Do listen to our other views and other videos, right? And join the Telegram group in case you're interested in a PDF of this video. Thank you so much.